That is Erewhon forager. Foragers are the ones that go around the farmer's market. They look for things that could be sold at the Erewhon.
Mm-hmm.
So I go, wow, they contacted me. And so I met with them and they wanted me to add sugar to my products. And this was before sugar was being vilified.
Whoa.
And I said, but no, that my whole thing is we do not have sugar.
Right.
We don't have anything that causes inflammation in the food. And then I had to really stay true to my mission.
Yeah.
And I had to say, no, this is not part of my mission. This is not my brand. I'm going to have to turn them down.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to F5 Collective Presents Women in Business. We are having a great conversation with Manette McDermott of Muun. We're going to be talking about food waste and how to make the most of upcycling food, microbiome and gut health, and just lots of wonderful things. And so please check this out as we say hello to Manette. Hi, Manette.
Thank you, Linda.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, for sure. This is wonderful. I, let's be honest, you saved kind of my sister-in-law's kind of her taste and smell and just the whole thing. And this is just really cool what you've been doing. So let's kind of just get into it. Let's tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you came from.
Okay. Yeah. I was actually born in St. Louis, Missouri, first generation immigrants. My mom and dad came over from mainland China.
Oh, wow.
And I grew up in an environment where there weren't a lot of Chinese. So trying to fit in was always the most important thing for them.
Yeah.
Just make sure you fit in.
Yeah.
So I grew up with a lot of just don't talk. Just stay quiet. Then nobody's going to notice that you're different.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I went off to school on the East Coast because my family moved my senior year in high school.
Okay.
So I was able to finish on a high school then on the East Coast. And that's where I found some East Coast schools.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did you guys move?
We moved to New York.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you have a PhD in linguistics.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get involved in linguistics? What led to that?
I know. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as a daughter of immigrants, they always would say you can be a doctor, a lawyer, or a failure, right? And so like, okay, what do I pick? Okay. But the doctor part of it was the most appealing to me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went off to school, I actually was pre-med.
Oh, whoa.
Mm-hmm. But then as I studied psychology, which was the first time I'd ever studied psychology, we didn't have that in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I said, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And I've always loved little children. So the little children and watching their language development was just fascinating to me. And my psychology professor asked, would I do research with them? I thought, whoa, that'd be amazing. Sure. So I started to do my own research based on my fascination with language development.
Oh, wow.
So as I, proceeded to create my own dissertation back out of pre-med, he's located this amazing program at Brown where it was applying linguistics to structural linguistics. How does a language get processed in the brain? And that really appealed to me because, of course, I was looking at young children and how they were learning to talk within the first 3 years of their lives and be amazing little communicators.
Yep.
That's incredible. So that's what I went into. I went into linguistics
via
language development.
That's so cool. So now you went into the linguistics, and what I love so much about that is that whole idea of supporting kids with their language in this unique way and really kind of connecting the dots across it. So what led you to getting involved in gut health and all of that? I'm figuring that part of your pre-med may have been helpful in at least a little bit, but what led from linguistics to that?
It's a beautiful question. It really is, because I often ask myself that myself. How did I get here? Yeah. But basically, the way I look at it is I'm now studying the language of the gut, where I was studying the language of the brain. and how do we teach language in the brain while we're trying to learn about how to listen to the language of the gut.
Yeah.
So if you can learn to listen to the language of the gut, we can become much more proficient at keeping our bodies healthy and well.
Mhm.
So what we've become in our sick care system is we wait until people get sick when the body's screaming for help
Yeah.
before hearing the whisper. So if we can listen to the whisper before it all happens, we can probably fix it
Yeah.
using the microbiome. So that's basically what happened. I started helping my mom, my dad, myself. And then, my mom was, you need to start a company. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm just doing this for you. I'm not going to be doing it for a company. She
Right.
goes, yeah, but I'm giving it to all my friends and we're all off Metamucil. And I'm going, that's kind of cool. So then as she continued to ask that I do that, because she was the daughter of a businessman. And so
Okay.
she was always thinking,
Oh.
yeah, you need to open a business. That's what she always was telling me. Yeah. And so what I did was, as I started to listen to her mantra, you need to start a business,
Mhm.
I started to sense, you know what, she might be right. If I am really helping her friends get better, that's the idea of impact. So if I can help other people get well as well, it's gonna be worth I mean, it would be my dream to be able to
Mhm.
help people, but I really didn't know what the avenue would be.
Yeah.
So the doors just started to open. And as I was helping her, I was starting to have struggles with
Mm.
some health issues. And everywhere I went, the doctors would say, that's because you're getting old,
Sorry.
right?
Yep.
And I'd say, wait a minute, I'm only 50. What are you talking about?
Mm, mm.
And they'd say, this is what happens. Arthritis settles in, you start to get stiff. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know that.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. But this was so many years ago.
Yeah.
And as I started to listen to that, I started to believe it. And then I started to think, wow, when my back went out, my hips went out, and they were saying surgery, I'm going, whoa, that's intense. Really? And then my daughter noticed, Mom, you eat a lot of sugar. And I'm going, yeah, so? Nobody said I can't eat sugar.
Oh, wow.
And I asked the doctor, could it be the sugar? And he said, no, it's fine. Sugar. And this was, many years ago,
Yeah.
20 years ago. And so he didn't know either. He just said, I'm showing you that you've got this rupture in your spine. We need to go and do surgery. And so my daughter said, let's do no sugar for a week, Mom. See if you can do it. No way. I'm not going to give up sugar for a week. There's no way. There's no way I could do that. She said, just try it. So I said, okay, I'll do it for you. You're going to do it with me, right? We did it together. And I started to get better. Like, whoa, that's crazy. She said, do
Wow.
it one more week. So I did it one more week. My arthritis went away. My back pain went away. My hip pain went away. Everything got better. It was amazing. So I said, that's crazy. I'm going to go look for food that has no sugar in it.
Mm.
There was nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Linda, what did I do? I started making food with all this upcycled ingredients that I found all my friends loved. So I would go at the time, there were all these organic juicers popping up.
Yeah.
And I'd go in, what are you doing with those orange peels? What about those banana peels? And they'd say, oh, we throw them out. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many of them and they're packed with nutrients. Could I have them? So
Mm.
I just started collecting garbage bags full of all these peels. And then I would take them home and I'd make stuff. And people loved them.
So, okay, so this is really interesting because I want to backtrack just a little bit. What How did you discover yourself about the benefits of upcycle? And if you can even speak to that a little bit, because
Mhm.
I know that people kind of know what upcycled food is and that kind of thing, but if you can speak to that a little bit
For
and how
sure.
you came to recognize, wait a minute, there's something to this.
Yes. Yes. There are definitely stages along
Mm-hmm.
the way that where my awareness became so powerful. But it first came when I heard that the number one landfill was food waste.
Yeah.
I always thought it was diapers and plastic.
Mhm.
No, it's food waste. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's wild. You mean perfectly good food is now being thrown into the landfill?
Mm.
So then I started exploring that. And I started thinking, there are a lot of things that we throw away in production. Like we're always peeling our carrots and our potatoes, and that's where all the nutrients are.
Mhm.
So I started thinking, if we didn't throw away all that stuff, maybe we'd be actually healthier
Mhm.
because our bodies may be missing out on some of the sun's energy,
Yeah.
some of the polyphenols, all the antioxidants. So I just started personally rescuing all peels and skins and things that we throw away. And then I saw the difference it made in the health of my family.
Mhm.
So I just started doing that as a project that I didn't want to eat a snack or a food that had refined sugar,
Right.
just so I wouldn't get inflamed anymore.
Right.
But as I did it, I was realizing all this food is actually kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I can make stuff that has no sugar in it other than nature sugar.
Right.
So that's kind of how I started upcycling. But then as the more I researched it and the more I learned about it, there's so much waste involved in making food,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the transportation, the agriculture, the land, the water, everything that we need to make food that is processed is very wasteful.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, in the production of making a lot of these foods, we're throwing away a lot of the stuff that could be used.
Yeah.
So I just started saying there got to be other things I could be doing with all this stuff.
Right.
And so within the products that we're making now at Muun, there's very little waste. So every product that we make is intentionally creating the next product.
Right.
So there's this big closed loop production.
So how do you marry like sustainability with scalability? How have you been able to do that?
That's a great question, because in order to scale, it's about staying true
Mhm.
to your mission while you're scaling, and being so intentional about your purpose that you're never off your mission,
Right.
right? So the mission became not only health, but also environment and education.
Got it.
So those three became our mission-driven purposes.
Mhm.
But then as we kept doing it, we kept seeing the benefits and the reflection of what's supposed to be happening on our earth.
Mm.
So on our earth, you're going to see more and more regenerative farms,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But we're learning slowly. Why? Why regenerative farms? Because nature was intended to always give back. We were never meant to throw things away.
Yeah.
We were always meant to regenerate, allow new growth, and then keep that cycle going.
Yeah.
And why does that make a difference to our health? Because we're not doing that to our own bodies. We're not seeing ourselves as nature. When you see yourself as nature, you see, oh, what can I do to feed my nature body
Yeah.
real food that was intended to be part of my microbiome, right?
Yeah.
But then how do I keep that system going? How do I keep it? By honoring the fact that nature gave us all this beautiful stuff, right?
Yeah.
Why are we not using it all? The only skin that we really can't eat is the skin of the jicama.
Yeah.
But every other skin we can be eating.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've taken all of that and then Munchi came to be. So why is it called Munchi? I love the name. And
Mhm.
also, what was it like taking that leap of, okay, I'm going to start this company and there we go. Thanks, Mom.
Right. Well, Moon Chi is your Chinese life force energy.
Mhm.
There's this beautiful flow that we all have within us that gives us our health. And when that flow is happening, your body naturally knows how to heal. We have the innate ability to keep ourselves well. Our body's number one goal. I don't want you to get sick. I
Yeah.
want you to be well. Moon is literally nature, and putting you back in nature in line with nature's intention allows your chi to stay in flow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So the calling that I had to create this company was the seed of my mom saying, you need to start this company. But what really triggered the actual doing of it,
Mhm.
she passed away
Mm.
from Parkinson's. And at that point, I was still exploring all the different things that I could make with this stuff. And I had created a product that was helping her and her friends. And I was using a coconut milk.
Mhm.
And that organic coconut milk, I would feed these little kefir grains,
Mhm.
which are the most ancient of all probiotics. And so I would feed them, but they love dairy. But my mom couldn't eat dairy. I couldn't eat dairy. So I was using coconut milk. But what was beautiful about that was these little survivors that thrived in the organic coconut milk, they would die initially, but then I'd catch a little bit, and then I'd catch the next little bit, and then the next little bit. So it took me a whole year to actually come up with a culture that could survive and make more because they like the lactose that's in
Oh, right, of
milk.
course, yeah.
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 So it's as if we've created strains of little microorganisms that are survivors.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh my
So these
gosh.
survivors then became what I call the mother of all Moon Chi products.
Mhm.
You'll see these survivors living in all of our products. The intent was just not to waste, but then as I kept doing it, I realized, oh my gosh, I'm giving these microbes an opportunity to live in different plant environments. And as they're doing that, they're creating different species and different strains. That's why I'm able to help someone like your sister, your
Mhm.
daughter, or your sister-in-law,
Yeah.
and other people who'll say, nobody's been able to fix me. What's going on? And I was like, we're just introducing some microbes that may be missing from your microbiome due to the fact that we have a ton of antibiotics,
Mhm.
a ton of processed foods where some of the microbes aren't being fed. And so instead, we're feeding the inflammatory bugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it just developed that way. So you'll see in our closed loop production, the intent was not to waste, but really what we're finding is so many benefits because the survivors are now learning to survive in all these different plant environments.
Wow.
Is that wild?
That's so cool. Well, what I love so much about all of that is that the whole circular, the connection and something that I know you also focus on within that context with the environment and so forth is reusable. You
Yes.
have reusable containers and so forth. What's, I mean, so what's the operational kind of process of putting all of that together and sourcing all of that and also sourcing it in a way that supports your mission and your environmental focus?
The beautiful thing is that it allows the community to participate, and they love
Okay.
it. So it started off in the farmers markets,
Mhm.
and I would bring all the glass jars, and all the vendors were like, "You are an idiot. You know how expensive those glass jars are?" I'm like, "Yes, I know, but I'm gonna be paying them money to bring them back." "What? That's ridiculous. You're gonna lose so much money." Like, I know, but then they're gonna get excited about bringing back their jars, and then eventually they're gonna just get excited about bringing back their jars without getting money back, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And that really is what happened. So people just started bringing back their jars, and I was the only vendor that would leave with more stuff than I came with because I had all these jars that I'd have to bring back and
Yeah.
put in my van. Yeah, but it was really cool the way that allowed us to grow our community because it's a community of people who care about the environment,
Mhm.
they care about health, they care about empowering themselves to make decisions that will contribute to their ongoing legacy, but also the Earth's legacy.
Yeah.
So as we experience that connection with the Earth, everyone starts to see, oh my gosh, we've been so disrespectful of the nature that has given us so much. And as we reconnect them to that purpose and that intent of loving with respect and knowing that when we reconnect, not only does our health get better, Earth's health gets better, nature's able to give us and continue to give us everything that she intended from the very
Yeah.
beginning, all the information that we need for our bodies to stay healthy.
So as you speak and as you have created this company, and especially in the name and so forth, you've balanced Eastern and Western philosophies.
Mhm.
And I'm curious the various ways that you really bring that to life so that your customers and it's kind of like family, the family that you've created, that they
Mhm.
fully understand that this is this incredible bond.
Yes.
And so how are you intentional about that? Like, what do you really focus on to make that clear?
Mhm, mhm. It's very interesting because what we've found is that with Eastern medicine, we're bringing in a completely different philosophy, which is more holistic.
Mm, mhm.
And so the Western model is, oh, have you gone to see the GI doctor? Oh, have you gone to see your back doctor? What
Mm.
about your kidney doctor? What about you? And all these different compartments are now being connected in Eastern medicine.
Yeah.
So Eastern medicine is going to go, oh, you have a TMJ? That might be your liver. Did you ever consider your liver? And they're like, what? I've been going to the dentist for all these years, Yeah, but there are going to be certain meridians within your body that are going to be connecting you to the different organs. That's allowing you now to see that all the systems in your body are going to be connected. And as they're connected, the foundation is the microbiome. So the microbiome is able to give all the different organs different messages depending on what information you give your microbiome.
Mhm.
So as you stay true to balancing your chi, you're going to find that all of the different compartments now are connected.
Mm.
And as you take care of the different back pain, the hip pain, all of that, you realize, oh my God, it was my microbiome.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
what have been some of because, the food business in health and wellness,
Mhm.
it always feels like there's something new coming or it's very cutthroat. And so I'm just curious, what has been some of the challenges that you've faced with what you've created? You've created these amazing convenience foods that are
Mhm.
based in real food.
Mhm.
And so what have been some of the challenges that you've kind of faced as you've been kicking this off and really
Mm.
bringing this to life to really get people to understand and be more in touch with their
Mhm.
bodies and so forth? And then
Mhm.
how have you overcome those?
Yeah. I'd say the biggest one is that when people hear healthy, they go, "Oh, I don't eat anything healthy." Like, "Don't let me eat anything healthy." I mean, I literally had people come in and go, "Oh, I only eat artificial. Like, don't let me eat a real apple." And I'm going, "Really? Like, oh, you wanna try one?" Like, you might be
They're
surprised.
really pretty too.
But they do, the body gets accustomed to
Mhm.
eating food that has been processed, preserved, colored, dyed,
Yeah.
given flavoring. And so, yes, I can understand how someone could come in and be like kind of I don't eat onions and I don't eat garlic. Like, but did you know that your gut actually could use it? Oh no, I can't. No, no. Don't even tell me that there's anything in there. Don't even say that word. Like, okay. And they'll come in with the notion that healthy food can't taste good.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the first step, trying to get people to just taste it. And they go, wait, you mean there's no sugar in
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that actually tastes really good. Okay, I'll try that one. And so then as they're trying, that's a big part of our whole model. It's still modeled after the farmer's market. Yeah, come on in. We're gonna let you try everything. See what you like. I'm not gonna make you buy anything that you
Mhm.
don't like. And then I'm gonna tell you what is the functional benefit. So we're switching the way you relate to food. Instead of food controlling you and having you have cravings, you're now going to be pausing and going, huh, what is this food's functional benefit? Oh, you mean if I eat this, it's going to be good for my skin? Oh, sure, I'll try that. And then as people start to relate to food that way, all of a sudden their cravings go away. They have no sense of, I have to be eating all the time, and their sleep improves.
Mhm.
Everything starts to improve because the body was never designed to be eating all the time that was hyper palatable,
Right.
right? But the food industry and all the food scientists have been trained, gotta make it so they get addicted.
Mhm.
And one of the things that they really are good at is they're going to keep adding salt and sugar because it will be parts of the food chain that have very little nutrient value. So the refined sugar, zero nutrients.
Mhm.
So your little microbes that are in your microbiome, they only know food as nutrient dense. So they get the sugar thing and they're going, I don't think there's any nutrients. I don't think this is food. I think it might be poison.
Yeah.
And then it's going to inflame you to try to keep you alive, to keep you protected from this strange thing that doesn't have any nutrients.
Yeah.
So then the body will say, hey, buddy, I didn't get any nutrients. Can you eat another one? Eat another one. I didn't get any nutrients. Well, you may as well eat the whole sleeve because there's still no nutrients coming in from those cookies that you keep eating,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when you're eating a nutrient-dense food, experience is completely different because your body is going, hi, I'm working on this. I'm full. You don't need to eat anymore. And then your body experiences satiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's so cool about how you've put that into perspective is it goes back to the language.
Yeah.
I mean, even how you speak about it is your body speaking to each other
Yes.
and learning how to talk to each other and
Yes.
you listening to that,
Yes.
which is fantastic. And also goes back to how you view food as medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious because I agree with you. For a while, I would help people eat. And it was a lot of people who had health issues or whatever. And they would always talk about, well, I just look at food as fuel and I just try to find the stuff that's really healthy. And then I'll remind them, but you're not going to eat right if it doesn't taste good.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's okay for something to taste good. It's
Mhm.
just there are different ways to make it taste good.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so you can embrace food being more
Yeah.
than just fuel. Um, and as you've done your work towards really food as medicine, how has all of your experience, the pre-med, the linguist, all of it,
Mhm.
how has that come to play for you so you can push the message out even more?
Yeah. Because food as medicine works part of the way, but it's even more than that. Food is everything.
Mhm.
Food is what creates our cells, our body, our blood, our bones, our skin, our hair. It's consisting of all that plant matter that is full of information from the sun, but also from the microbiome of the earth. So all that information now has to be processed by your microbiome to be able to give to all the parts of your body so that your body knows how to repair itself,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So it is this ongoing effort on the part of your microbes to keep you at your best.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be looking at how the brain processes language, and now I'm looking at how does the gut process language, the language that we are connecting to through the food, like when I eat something, I'm going to say, are my microbes going to say thank you for this?
Yeah.
If they're not, I'm not going to eat it, right?
Yeah.
So that's my first little connection. But then I'm also going to smell it. I'm going to smell that food.
Mhm.
And then as I smell that food, it's going to be talking to my stomach saying, hey, she's about to be eating something. You better make some acid.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to chew that food. And that chewing is going to be telling my pancreas, make some digestive enzymes. And then all of that now is going to be talking to the liver. Liver's going to be making clean bile. So that whole digestive system is based on communication,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And if that doesn't happen within a communication that is understandable to the body, then the body will get inflamed, because that's what the body does. Whenever it feels in danger, it's going to want to get inflamed.
Yeah.
So when we eat highly processed foods, it is very hard for the body to recognize it as food. The microbes are like, I'm not really sure about this. So I tell my clients, keep it easy. If it's from a factory, pause. If it's from a farm, go for it.
Yeah.
Right? So as you experience the dichotomy of what has happened in the processing of that food to become something that's highly palatable, and what is happening to the food that is coming from the earth. So the food from the earth is something that our ancients ate,
Mm.
and that's what our microbes recognize,
Right.
and that's what they're going to use to maintain your health. So we're dying later in life, not because we're getting better at eating food and processing and maintaining health, but it's because we've been able to develop antibiotics to fight infectious disease primarily.
Yeah.
Right? But if we were to look at the ancients and what they were doing, they were fermenting foods, they were creating stuff that they would catch or they would, crop. All of those foods were part of feeding their original microbiome.
Right.
So when we're dealing with highly processed food, not only are we dealing with not feeding our microbiome, but we're feeding the inflammatory ones, the ones that aren't giving you functional benefit information, but you're also telling your body, get inflamed. This is stuff that we don't recognize.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that communication system is going to always take place if we're going to be surviving.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes total sense. It
Mhm.
does. Now, how can we, as the collective
Huh?
world, um, what would you suggest we start to do regarding food waste and really addressing it so that we
Mhm.
can address it and maybe start alleviating it?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it starts actually with regenerative farming.
Yeah.
Recognizing that what we've been doing with this convenience and with the fertilizers and all of the sprays that we're using to make food fast in great volume and with as little money as possible, right?
Yeah.
We're causing our bodies now to have cancer, things that are new to our sick care system.
Yeah.
And as we experience that, we're going to find that the regenerative nature of nature itself is going to have to happen if we're not going to run out of land that we can use to actually grow our food.
Yeah.
And then we also have to be really mindful of the water, and we have to be mindful of every animal product that we make. How are we treating our animals, and what is it taking to let those animals survive?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can definitely do it. We have to start doing it now.
Yeah. Now, right
Mhm.
now,
Yeah.
regenerative farming, it's something that's near and dear to my heart as well. So I love to hear you speaking of it and the value
Mm.
of it. If you could just speak to exactly what regenerative farming is so that people really fully understand what that
Mhm.
means.
Mhm. It's recognizing that food, as it grows, you're going to be using very rich soil. How are you going to get that very rich soil? That rich soil is going to be coming from the dying of the thing that you just grew, right?
Mhm.
So you're going to be cropping, and you're going to be allowing yourself not to monocrop,
Right.
because the monocropping is what's causing so many issues. Because once you start monocropping, you're missing the diversity of the microbiome in the earth,
Mhm.
which is what we're finding we're missing in our microbiome,
Right.
right? So the regenerative farming is all about allowing what is supposed to be happening in nature to take place.
Mhm.
Let the animals roam, right? Let them poo in the land. Let them do what they're supposed to be doing, but let them connect
Yeah.
to that land. Let them connect to the plant. And now, what are we going to do with that? We're going to allow the regenerative nature of water to become part of the food as well, and the sun as well. So all of the things that we've used to make it faster is causing damage.
Yeah.
So instead of storing food, because we now have all the ability to spray things with glyphosate, keep things from getting moldy, all of that is doing damage to our guts because we're learning that it does a number on our gut lining. And that's why we've got so many people with leaky gut, right? But if we can see the same thing that we're doing to our land, we can do to our bodies, right?
Yeah.
So we can save our land by letting her be regenerated every single time. Instead of just seeing it as a monocrop, switch it up. Try making something else.
Yeah.
Don't just grow corn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
So allowing the animals to be part of the system. I lived on a permaculture farm for a while in Italy, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm not a meat eater, but the way they treated their animals, I was tempted. I was like, oh, you're so kind to them. Like, wow. And they were letting their chickens wander around
Yeah.
in the food that they were growing. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But that is very much like regenerative farming,
Yeah.
where you're just being very mindful of what is it that we're growing in the soil itself to be able to grow food, the plants that are now going to be a part of us, to now be the most nutrient.
Yeah.
You got to keep everything diverse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. Now, what is next for Munchi?
That's a great question. No, because it's so funny. Very early on in my venture, I had Erewhon reach out to me.
Oh, wow.
And they said, we loved your product. Is there any way we can get it into the stores? And I thought, oh, wow, this has got to be my daughter playing a joke on me. Like, this is not possible. And so I called my daughter. She said, no, Mom, that is real. It's like,
that's really Erewhon.
That is Erewhon forager. Foragers are the ones that go around the farmer's market. They look for things that could be sold at the Erewhon. So I go, wow, they contacted me. And so I met with them, and they wanted me to add sugar to my products. And this was before sugar was being vilified. And I said, but no, that my whole thing is we do not have sugar.
Right.
We don't have anything that causes inflammation in the food. And they said, well, it's probably not going to last in the distribution center. Probably not going to last on the shelf. I'm like, wow. And then I had to really stay true to my mission.
Yeah.
And I had to say, no, this is not part of my mission. This is not my brand. I'm going to have to turn them down. But what was cool about that was it did have me recenter myself to make true that I stay true to my brand.
Yeah.
But also it helped me create the next step for Munchi.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't to get another product into Erewhon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what most consumer packaged goods do.
Yeah.
They get bought by somebody bigger.
Yeah.
And they're going to take it into a commercial store, a big box store that has to go through a certain system to be able to make it last on a shelf.
Right.
Right? So that helped me develop what is Munchi? Munchi is a storefront, right? But it's a fermentation kitchen at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So as the fermentation kitchen is producing food that is going to be sold in the storefront, the people who are coming to the store know that we're not going to be using preservatives, no sugar, no artificial coloring, nothing that's going to taint the product of its real food abilities. So in order to do that, it would have to be a model that teaches other people how to ferment, but also how to have another place like Munchi in their community.
Oh, wow.
Right? So it's not a franchise. It's not, here, I'm going to give you all my recipes and you go make it. It's about letting the fermenter be very active in the production of it so it stays a homemade product.
Yeah.
Right? So that that artisanal nature of the product is very much like why we like to use local farmers, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to be in touch with us when the most seasonal thing is available. And I'm going to go, yeah, I'll take a bunch of that, right? Because if we can eat seasonally, we're even connecting better
Yeah.
to what is it that nature's trying to give us to keep us well at this time of year.
Yeah.
So if we can all keep doing that for each community and spread it that way, that's our model. So the next step would be, how do we scale something like that?
Yeah.
And we're finding that it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. When you come into our store, it's not, there's a counter and you place your order, and then the employees over here and the customers over there. It's completely open.
Oh,
There's
wow.
no counter, and we interact. We have a what we believe is the most important part of Moonchi is our relationships. So it's not about a transaction, but it's about building that relationship. So we've done no marketing. It's all word of mouth. It's all people coming in saying, oh, I got better. So I told my friend Susan, and she's going to be coming in. Like Susan comes in, I got better. Like, oh my God, So it's that feeling of knowing that we can each teach each other something and that we can all learn from each other.
Yeah.
So I'm always listening to my customers because they always have something new to tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a franchise, it's an inspiration, right? It's a motivation.
Yes.
So to take that and carry it on.
Yes.
So it feels like what's next for Munchi is to continue doing that and to determine the scalability of something like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And always asking, what is this impact that I can have?
Yeah.
Not what is the profit?
Yeah.
So I never went in to make money. I went in so that my mom's friends didn't have to be on
Right.
right. But then as I got better, I'm going, whoa, this is like amazing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I was able to fix my early macular degeneration. I was able to fix my diabetes. It was craziness.
Yeah.
But none of this is stuff that I was told. This is stuff that I had to learn.
Yeah.
And as I was listening to my customers come in with fatty liver, diabetes, neuropathy, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and then they'd start taking care of their microbiome and, oh my God, I'm off my meds. And I'm going, yes.
Yeah.
Because your body, even though I'm grateful for all the pharmaceuticals that we've been able to create, unfortunately, a lot of them are going to have side effects.
Yeah.
Because the body still sees food as the medicine.
Yeah.
So you give it a pharmaceutical, that is the Band-Aid. Let's block the symptoms so you don't have pain. But have you fixed the problem?
Right.
Right? Have you actually addressed what is going wrong?
Yeah.
And if you can address what's going wrong, you can prevent the body screaming, saying, I cannot do this any longer. You got to block the pain.
Yeah.
So now we've got all these pain management pharmaceuticals that are causing a lot of issues with the kidneys, a lot of issues with the liver. And then because the body has to detox things that it doesn't recognize.
Yeah.
So our detox organs are really struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is helping to support those. And what I love so much about what you've been saying is also about we are nature, right? And reminding us that we are part of that. And
yes.
When you were talking about food and the sun and all of it, it made me realize that all those things feed us. And so food as medicine goes beyond just the thing that's on our plate, right?
Right.
It's all of it.
It's all of it. It's all of it. And if you think about a plant that's growing in this beautiful microbiome of this beautiful organic earth, and then the sun giving it energy, and your body now absorbing all that information, it is unbelievable
Yeah.
how much information there is.
Yeah.
Right? It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And if you were to allow your body to see all those benefits, because if you're going to go into an ultra processed situation in a factory, a lot of it's going to be taken.
Yeah.
So all of the fruits and vegetables that have the peels and the skins, that's information of antioxidants,
Mm-hmm.
the fruit's ability to defend itself.
Yeah.
All of that's in there. We eat that. Now we're packed with antioxidants,
Yeah.
right? So the body becomes much better. Their immune system improves, their ability to defend against any disease, ability to defend against, any infection improves
Yeah.
because you're now eating foods that were meant to be eaten by nature.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Yeah.
amazing?
It's incredible to realize how much information is packed into just so much of
Yes.
everything.
Yep.
When you really think about it, I love this so much. Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I love what you're doing. I'm excited for women.
Mm.
I'm learning so much. As I learn to listen to our customers, I'm realizing that when they are speaking from their heart,
Mm.
and I'm hearing what it is that they want, so many of them want to have a different way of healing themselves.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to take all the pills that they're being prescribed.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, our system is designed where the insurance pays the doctor when he can tell them, oh, you've got IBS. Oh,
Yeah.
you've got Crohn's. If they can't code that, then it's hard for them to get paid.
Yeah.
So it's a system that right now, unfortunately, doesn't really make it available
Yeah.
to people who don't have the money to use the food to get better.
Yeah.
So it is going to be cheaper to go to McDonald's to get a burger than it is to make your own, right?
Yeah.
But what we can do is really think about how can we improve the situation where the underserved communities are given options.
Yeah.
So that they can feel like they've got some choice.
Real options.
Real options.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So not going into a store. I'll never forget this, where I went to a store in Redondo, same chain.
Mm-hmm.
They had a whole section of organic food. And then I went over to a section in the same store, same chain, but it was in an underserved community.
Yeah.
There was no even organic available.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wait, what is wrong with this picture?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of what I would love to be able to do is, I know this sounds crazy, but I would love to have a kvass truck. So our kvass is our number one product that seems to be healing a lot of people.
Mm.
I would just love to have a kvass truck and ring the bell the way they do an ice cream truck. It's like,
Yeah.
kvass, it's your kvass day. And people have run out with their jugs, and then I fill them up with their kvass, and they can start to feel better.
Yeah.
And then once you start feeling better, once you start feeding the beneficial microbes, they're the ones that are going to ask, can you give me some broccoli instead of the cookie today?
Yeah.
And that's how cravings go away.
Yeah.
The shift happens.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to require, me seeing that it's not possible.
Mm.
It's me seeing that it is possible.
Yeah.
Right? And that creating an environment that is different from the norm.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, people are going to come in, and instead of placing an order where I'm going to give it to them, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to say, so what is it that you're working with today? Are you dealing with sleep issues?
Yeah.
I want to help you with that. So developing that relationship so that they now feel heard,
Mm-hmm.
but they also feel hopeful.
Yeah.
That they can do something to improve their situation without having to take a pill.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even our supplement industry is crazy.
Yeah.
You listen to all these health podcasts and everything is about a supplement,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm on
Yeah.
0 supplements,
Yeah.
0 vitamins. Well, how is it that I'm better than I ever was, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm actually eating real food,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
And
So
listening to your body,
yes,
right?
yes,
You know,
listening to your
which
body.
isn't always easy. And it's something that we learn.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
having someone like you that helps us
Yes.
embrace it is
Yes.
important.
Yes. Listening to the whisper before
Yeah.
it screams
Yeah.
is for sure, for sure.
Wow.
What we also like to do at Muun is we like to host different educational speakers to come in.
Oh, excellent.
And so that people can see, oh, that's what a functional doctor does, or that's what an acupuncturist does, or that's what
Oh, that's
a somatic
awesome.
healer will do. So we offer wellness days where we invite 10 different practitioners to come in. They're going to offer little mini sessions. It's all free. People come in and they're going to try. Oh, I've never done acupuncture. Let me try that. Oh, let me try that. Massage. Okay, I'll try that. So it allows them to see that they don't have to just immediately jump
Mm-hmm.
to a pill to fix the pain, but that there are other alternative ways that could perhaps help.
Yeah.
That kind of opens the door to, I want to learn more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and also not only don't have to jump to a pill, but the variety that you're providing,
Mhm.
having somebody find what works for them, what's
Yes.
comfortable for them, right?
Exactly.
It's like you hear about people who say, I can't meditate, but what I can do is blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Or I can do that, but and they find it, but
Yeah.
you can't find it if you don't know it is there, right?
Exactly.
That's great.
Exactly. And seeing that every individual's microbiome is individual.
Yeah.
So I can't say, I know that's going to work for you. I'm going to say, let's try this.
Yeah.
Let's try that.
Yeah.
And you're going to let me know what works for you.
Yeah.
And then we're going to make adjustments. But yeah, that's exactly right. If they don't know what's available,
Yeah.
how can they make the choice?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, this
So,
is very cool.
yeah.
Oh, I love this. So, probiotics, I know that now probiotics and just like protein, I think the two things are really funny to me. Suddenly protein's really important. And I thought, oh, protein's always been important. And probiotics are starting to be. But, for years, I remember I used to actually make my own kombucha with years and years ago. And I know how important it is. So why hasn't there been more? Because I know it has to do with gut health and all of that. Why hasn't there been more of that kind of steady understanding of the importance of probiotics and really kind of embracing it less from the doctor tells me I need it to here are the things I know about it.
Exactly. So if you look across the world globally, all the other cultures had fermentation.
Yeah.
It was part of their way of preserving food,
Yeah.
but it was also their way of staying connected to nature. And unfortunately, America did not have its own fermented food because we had all these immigrants bringing their own fermented sauerkraut, kimchi, whatever it was. But we actually don't have our own fermented food. So we lost our ability to connect to the importance of why fermented foods. So fermented foods have the living microorganisms, that are going to be giving us the probiotics, which are the seeds for the garden. And then the prebiotics are what are going to be feeding those seeds to allow the garden now to flourish in your gut. So what's happened is the pharmaceutical got a hold of the word probiotics and they started making probiotic pills. So all the synthesis of all these probiotic pills now became the solution for trying to help people. When really eating fermented foods is the way the microbiome loves to recognize probiotics.
Yeah.
They love to use the real living microorganisms to now help balance the microbiome. So all of these probiotic pills, unfortunately, is very much the one-size-fits-all model. Everybody's got the same microbiome. They all need bifidobacteria, whatever it is that they're making. But unfortunately, it's not true. Not everyone's going to need the same. So I have people come in and they're going, I was fine. And then I started taking this pill and now I'm so sick and I don't know what's going on. It's because your body didn't want that particular strain, or it was put into your body an opening in the wrong place. So if it opens in the wrong place and now you've got microorganisms living in different parts of your gut where they're not supposed to be, like the
Yeah.
small intestine, you're going to have some issues. But if you allow it to come through food, it will always go to the large intestine where the microbiome exists.
Yeah.
So this large intestine is going to have a beautiful balance of both the beneficial and the inflammatory ones. But if you're not eating fermented foods, how are those microbes now going to continue to flourish? Because not only do we have microbes that want to take residence, but we also have microbes that want to transient. They want to be transient and they want to leave. So as your body learns to connect to the idea of absorbing nutrients, looking for toxins, and then eliminating, that's the full digestive system.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be able to absorb nutrients. But when we're doing things with pills, the body's going, oh, I think I'm supposed to detox here. It gets confused. That's why
Yeah.
this whole Metamucil thing was a problem
Right.
for a lot of my mom's friends. But once we got them off and we got their system working using fermented foods, they were able to feel better and they were able to not get to the point where they were dependent on these pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting, I think, regarding fermented foods, it's funny when you said that in America we don't really have any, and I was thinking to myself, gosh, I couldn't think of any. I feel like there's this weird fear of fermented foods.
Totally.
And so, for example, in our house we make ginger ale, but we make ginger ale by having it ferment. I mean, getting the yeast out of the air. I mean, we make it like that.
Nice.
And when you mention like fermented foods to people, it weirdly kind of gets them. Well, I mean, is it safe? I mean, is it sanitary? I mean, and explaining, well, yes, actually,
Yes.
your body
Yes.
needs it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're totally on target there.
Yeah.
Yep. It's been a problem.
Yeah.
It's been a problem because they hear the word bacteria and the assumption is, oh, that's bad. That's
right.
bad. And we've definitely experienced, botulism, for example, which is the opposite. So in order to make a tomato sauce and jar it, you're going to be having to heat it up. You're going to have to vacuum pack it.
Yep.
And now you run the chance of botulism because if they don't kill all the bacteria and there are no good ones that survived, you can let botulism grow.
Right.
Fermentation is different.
Yeah.
Fermentation is taking raw vegetables, raw fruit, and we're now going to allow the microbes in them to now expand and become highly nutrient. But as they're expanding, they're also getting rid of any bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they're good at.
Yeah.
So when you always have the balance of more beneficial ones than you do bad ones, they're going to just become stronger.
Yeah.
They're just going to become really good at what they do.
Yeah.
And that's the way our bodies were designed.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
really
that.
cool.
Well, it reminds me of it's so funny how we get caught up in this thing where, well, fat is bad. Okay, but you need certain fats. You do. So not all fat is bad. Carbohydrates are terrible. Okay, but you do need certain carbohydrates. Just it's not one or nothing, all or nothing. You really take a minute. Just take a minute. And what you seem to be doing with Moon Chi, especially with the experience of actually going in there and not just go to the counter and I'm just going to give you this, is helping people to understand that whole cycle and what works for them and what their body needs and how they can also get it where it tastes good. Okay, so what do you sell at Moon Chi? What are your different products? Because I know that some of these are grab and go and some of them are, and I love the fact that you talked about in the jars. So what does Moon Chi offer?
Yes. So I mentioned the Kefir.
Yes.
So the Kefir is the fermented coconut milk.
Yes.
And when we make her, she is super happy. And she changes depending on what the temperature is, what the environment is, and she's really happy when the temperature is like this. So I tell all of our customers, it's not going to be the same. Every day it's not going to be the same.
Right.
You're going to get a different product.
Yep.
And I've literally had people going, but I want it to be thick. And I was like, yes, but I'm not going to be putting anything to make it thick.
Yeah.
But today it's not as thick as it was yesterday. It's like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because now your body is making an adjustment and becoming more resilient and adjusting to what nature gives you today. Right? Go. Are you trying to lose a customer? I was like, no, I'm not trying to lose a customer. I'm just telling you. We don't make things that are going to be added to make it the same every single time.
Right.
Your experience is going to be different. So the closed loop is that our Kefir makes our non-dairy cheeses.
Oh, okay.
So as we age the Kefir, it now gets the curds and the whey. The curds become our cheese, and the whey is the liquid that creates our kvass.
Oh, wow.
So our kvass is what we make with our beets and our ginger and our turmeric and our apples and lemons. All of those are being created into a probiotic drink that a lot of people use to vasodilate their vessels, keep their blood pressure maintained, to help their blood sugar levels maintained. So all of the improved blood flow that comes from drinking a kvass is also going to help your liver detox. So it's a really awesome little tonic that people love. Then that generates all the stuff. What do we do with all the stuff?
Yeah.
That we're using the liquid, but what about all that stuff?
Yeah.
So we use all that stuff to make crackers and brownies and cookies. And we use all these different parts of the kvass making to create different parts. And then we also use them to make our kimchi, our sauerkraut, and then they make all of our hummuses. So as these products now are never wasted, they're giving an opportunity to have those same microbes from the Kefir now interacting with different plants.
That's cool. So that it all will feed your gut in the right way.
Yeah. And different. They're going to be diversifying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So everyone's going to try a different product. They're going to go, oh my God, this kimchi is the best one. I've never had a kimchi that worked like this. It's not that our kimchi is better than anybody's, but that we have 14 different vegetables in there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're increasing the chances there's going to be some microbe that goes, I really wanted the broccoli, but you never ate the broccoli. But now it's fermented, which makes it easier to eat.
Yeah.
So a fermented broccoli is going to be easier to eat than a raw broccoli.
Yeah.
So someone who can't eat a broccoli is like asking the little bug to get up out of a chair and do a marathon.
Yeah.
But if you're eating it in a fermented form, the body, little microbe goes, I can do this. It's a broccoli, but I can do this one. Yeah. So now he's getting up out of the chair. He's doing a little leg lift and he's going, I can do this. So the more you build that up, then eventually that person's going to be able to eat broccoli.
Yeah.
So that's one of the signs of a weak microbiome is when someone comes in and says, I have a ton of food sensitivities. Gotcha. So in a healthy microbiome, technically, you should be able to eat pretty much the rainbow. But if you are missing certain microbes or some of them are weak because you keep avoiding foods that cause problems for you, that's going to keep them weak. And they're going to continue to sit in their lazy boy chair like, no, I'm not doing that broccoli.
Yep.
Like, you want to do that broccoli? No, I'm not going to do that broccoli, right? So then as they experience something that's fermented, it gives them that ability to say, let's do it together.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you start to have a community of microbes that are working together to do all cruciferous vegetables.
Yeah.
So instead of just saying, stay away from all cruciferous vegetables, which are so good for you.
Yeah.
You're now going to be able to do something that your body didn't think it could do because it was just missing the opportunity because you kept starving them, right?
Yeah.
But now we're going to strengthen everybody. So the more we can get you exposed to a variety of different fermented foods, the more we increase the chances that we can improve your microbiome and its balance.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then we have all these fermented crackers and cookies and things that people will go, oh, I can do the cracker. I'm not going to do the kimchi, but I'll do the cracker, you know? And then they taste it. Same thing's happening. They're feeding the little microbe that goes, I don't do beets. And then
Yeah.
they go, oh, I can do this beet cracker.
Yeah.
I can totally do this.
Yeah.
And now they go back and they go, maybe I could do that beet kvass. Let me try that. And they'll try it. So it's kind of giving them options that are kind of familiar, but definitely nutrient dense.
Mm-hmm.
And as that nutrient dense becomes a part of your healthy microbiome, you're going to find your immunity gets better, your energy gets better, sleep gets better, everything starts to improve.
Yeah. It aligns.
Yeah.
It aligns.
Yep.
It's great.
Yep.
It's really great.
For sure. Yeah.
As you create your product, because it seems like, well, obviously the shelf life probably isn't very long, but how do you distribute your product? You have a storefront or
Mm-hmm.
and you can get it online, but how do you handle distribution
Mm-hmm.
and all of that
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing?
Yep.
Because you don't overly process anything.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. And we're not going to be adding any preservatives.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our goal never was to be in a big box store
Got
and
it.
to distribute that way.
Yeah.
It was always to be available to people who want to eat real, artisanal, fresh, clean food
Yeah.
today,
Mhm.
right? So you come in with a certain mindset. Oh, this is a place where I can feel safe, that I'm eating something that's going to be good for my microbiome. But there are going to be certain products that do have a long shelf life.
Mhm.
And the one product that I absolutely, absolutely adore is the one that we're making from the fermented roots that are coming from the making of the kvass.
Mhm.
So those fermented roots are then combined with a raw organic honey,
Mhm.
and the enzymes from that honey are interacting with the microbes from the fermented roots. We combine those, and this particular concoction is helping a ton of people.
Wow.
A ton of people with acid reflux, indigestion, fatty liver. And when we bottle that, it has a great shelf life.
Yeah.
So that might be the one product that we would consider
Right.
distributing, because that could be distributed without having to be made in a factory.
Right.
So what we're finding is that in order to satisfy the health department, food code, regulation, all of the permitting, they're used to stores falling into a certain category. But because we're not a restaurant, because we're not a coffee shop, because we're not a deli, they're having a hard time figuring out what we are.
Yeah.
So as we deal with those different regulations, we're learning that in order to distribute something like a kvass, they prefer if it's made in a factory.
Got it.
If it's made in a factory, they can now pasteurize it. They can now vacuum pack it. They're going to do things to our product that we're really not that keen about.
Yeah.
Whereas we wouldn't have to do that with our fermented root. So that's probably the only product that we would ever consider going into a distribution situation. Everything else is going to be made in-house, and then the next Muun that opens would be made there.
Right. Well, I was going to say that it probably it goes back to kind of like the advocates, right, who take that information and maybe go on, and then it's they distribute it, but because they create another Muun experience.
Yes.
And where you go in, and then somebody else creates another Muun experience.
Exactly.
Right. And then that can get you away from maybe distribution, because at least you're getting your beliefs and your mission out there. Right. Yeah.
Yep.
It's an interesting business model when you really think about it, because you really are coming from, I really want to help people.
Yes.
And I will not stop doing what I do because this is the best way to help people.
From my experience, I find that having a purpose and intention is absolutely critical. And if you know that you've got a clear intention, it definitely keeps you on your path and your direction, and it allows you at the same time to have the experience of, I have no idea what's going to come my way, but if I can stay on that direction and intention, that will continue to keep me going in a way that I know I'll be able to make an impact. And then I also like the idea of, what is the problem that I'm trying to solve? Because those two are subtly different. Because if you can decide on a problem that needs to be solved that will help everyone, it becomes that much more impactful. So, what is the impact that I can have on the world as I develop this company? Because my intention is more like the seed that allows it to grow, but the part of that the part of you that knows you've got to solve something requires that you listen to all the other people and all the other possibilities. So as you decide, what is the problem that I want to solve, you're going to have to do a lot of research. You're going to have to do a lot of listening. You're going to have to do a lot of learning. And in that learning, you're going to be able to continue to grow, continue to change, improve, make a difference. And that problem then gets closer to being solved. Now, of course, you're going to run into all these barriers, but that's going to be part of your path. The other thing that I am very committed to is my calling. So knowing that I went in not really sure what I was doing, I've never run a company before, knowing that there are options out there, but also that my calling required that I listen to every single thing that came along my way, even if it was a barrier. It meant listen, learn, grow. And in doing that, you become so in tune with your path, your calling. Because I didn't go in saying, I've got to make fermented foods. It was, I have to go in to try and help people get well by connecting them to nature using fermented foods. So it wasn't this fermented food, that product that was going to be sold, and I was going to find a way to get it on the shelf. It was much more, how do I learn to create products that are going to be part of this upcycling feeling that I had was critical to survival, basically. So if we all want to survive, we're going to have to all contribute to the idea that we're all part of this upcycled venture of regenerative farming, but regenerative health. Then the other thing that I really want to emphasize is that there's so much to learn from our customers. So instead of marketing and focusing on marketing, you'll find that I've got a really weak Instagram. And that is not intentional, but it is, we're allowing our company to grow word of mouth. What does that allow? That allows our customers to get to know each other, but it also allows me to get to know our customers so that as I listen to what is ailing them or what things that they want to improve in their health, I might be able to create a product that will be completely new to Muun, but that will allow more and more people to benefit. So this product that I've talked about that is now hoping to get on the shelves of some bigger stores, that particular product is an upcycled product, but it's also something that I made knowing that I could help people save their gallbladder. So it started off knowing what the ingredients were to help somebody save their gallbladder, but also knowing that from my culture of cooking with my mom in the Chinese kitchen, my job was always chop the ginger, chop the garlic, chop the turmeric. I hated that. Like, do I have to do that every day? Well, why don't I put it in a jar and make it available to everyone to just scoop it out, boom, and you've got it. So now we've got a product that came from people asking me, how do I save my gallbladder? And I heard, and I go, oh, I can tell you, put these roots together and I can help you. So that's how learning from our customers has made such a difference in the different products that we've been able to develop, including our kvass, which is our number one product. So there are so many great things that we can learn from listening to our customers, and they're really valuing that it's not a transaction, but it's a relationship. So if we see every opportunity to get to know someone as a relationship, then we will always want to stay connected. And that it's not just one product, it's not just one pill that's going to help people get well, but that it's a whole diverse community of not only people, but products, ingredients, ideas, different ways of alternative healing. We're going to all be able to put all of that together and see that we can empower ourselves to take charge of our health and see that, yes, it is possible just by being mindful of our choices.
That was beautiful. All right. So we're going to do a little bit of founder deep dive. These are kind of fast little things, and I always have to read them because I don't know why I can never seem to, but I got it for you. So what would you do if someone suddenly gave you $500,000?
Yeah. Wow. Well, initially I thought I would be getting a kvass truck and doing that, but I think there's something I need to do before I do the kvass truck. And I'm realizing that the kitchen that I have right now is so small that it's really limiting the amount of products that I can actually offer our growing community.
Got it.
So I think I need to put more money into the infrastructure of what it takes to have the Muun model that is now going to be available to other communities.
Got it.
Because if I were to offer my experience to other Muun operators, I would be saying, you need a bigger space. The space that I have, you're going to outgrow really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other thing that I would recommend with that money is to really think about what is it that I can do to improve my life as I go forward. Because to grow that company, I really had to sacrifice some of what my beliefs are. I always ask people, are you getting enough sleep?
Yeah.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute, am I getting enough sleep? Like, am I staying true to what is possible? Which may mean I need to hire somebody. I need to train somebody to be more actively involved. So maybe it would be something along the lines of growing our workforce so that it's more hands-on. But what we're finding that when I am available to our customers who come in with health issues, they want to speak to me.
Yeah.
So I need to be able to grow a team of people who understand health in the way I do and be able to speak to that. Maybe we end up using a little bit of AI. I'm not sure. But I had an AI guy come in and go, you need to create your AI voice. And that way we can have a choice instead of sitting here waiting to talk to you. Maybe I could talk to your AI voice. I'm like, yeah, I get that. But if that is our future, then I need to be able to start creating that. I don't know how to do that. It might take some money.
Yeah.
So yeah, something like that, like being more in tune with what's happening with our growing change in what's available to us using AI.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's there's a lot going on with that. What is one financial or any reality of building your business that rarely gets talked about?
I think the thing that when I entered thinking that I could make real food convenient, I think we miss the opportunity to scale using a model of fresh available now. Right now, the food industry is such that it's really easy for them to expect things in a bottle, expect
Mm-hmm.
things in a pill, expect things fast, expect it to take care of a lot of different things when really it's multifaceted.
Yeah.
It's going to be so many things that go into how you scale it. So I think the scaling part of it, you hear the success stories of, oh yeah, so General Mills came in and bought them, and now it's not the same product, but it still has the same name.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going, wow, does that have to happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's kind of like, can you break the idea that everything has to be made in a factory and then distributed to all these big boxes?
Yeah.
Can you have a place like a bakery
Mm-hmm.
where you trust the bread is made today, we're going to eat it? Can you have a place like that where you've got fermented foods available to you, made today, and it's going to be a little bit different every day? And how does some place like that survive and scale at the same time,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a different way of thinking about food. Instead of food having to be artificially flavored and preserved, it is, how do we make available real food and have the customer be part of the process
Yeah.
of sustainability as we stay committed to these bottles and jars that they're bringing back.
Yeah.
So it's a model that's a little bit more complicated, and it's not going to be one that is easily bought by a big food industry.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. Now, how did you finance your company, by the way? Was it
Well,
bootstrapping?
initially it was just out of my pocket.
Yeah.
But then a friend of mine told me about this grant,
Oh, okay.
and she said apply for it, and it was a women's owned, business. It was called Reher. Have
Oh,
you ever
wow.
heard of it?
No.
The Reher Academy. So it's Reher,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's
Yes.
all
Yes, I have.
women's
Okay.
companies. And I applied, and I got the $25,000 to start my storefront. Yeah.
Oh,
Is that
wow.
cool?
That is
Yeah.
great. Now, when you took that leap,
Mhm.
what fears did you have to overcome by taking that leap? Or did you have to overcome any fears?
I really didn't.
You didn't?
No, I've always, as I was saying, like, I had this calling that I knew that this is what I was supposed to be
Yeah.
doing. So I never had any fear. I just knew I have to get this out. I
Yeah.
have to make sure that we can heal people without using anything other than food.
Yeah. All right. And okay, so we're going to do the rapid five now. Are you ready for the rapid five?
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be fun. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Yeah. So my parents always wanted me to be a
Yeah.
doctor, but I loved kids and I loved teaching. So I actually always wanted to be a
You
teacher.
wanted to be a teacher. You
Mhm.
kind of are a teacher now. So
I know.
I
That's
like
why
that.
the education
There
part
you
of it
are.
is big.
That's cool. All right. What always makes you smile?
Oh, children, animals, nature.
Yeah.
That's easy. Yeah. I love, love, love kids and animals
Yeah.
and the sunset and the moonrise. Yeah,
Okay.
love it.
What do you know now that you wish you knew as a kid?
Oh, wow. That I don't have to be perfect. That it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
That it's really important to know that whatever you do in life, to really think about others. How do I allow myself to be more available to
Yeah.
others? And how can I receive at the same time? So I didn't know that because when you're part of an immigrant family, they're so focused on get educated, get a job, and become that doctor.
Mm,
And when that's all you hear, then you really do just think, oh my God, anything else I do is going to be a failure.
yeah.
But when you think that there's so much available out there to do and to make a difference other than just becoming a doctor, yes, I love our doctors. I love our doctors. It just wasn't my path.
Yeah.
So as we experience the idea of love growing when we know that I can share what I am supposed to be doing in the world is amazing because it definitely has impacted my overall health,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also impacted how I interact with others.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do feel like I've become a better person.
Mm.
But hearing my dad say, it's better to listen than to talk. And I thought, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'll listen. And then he'd add, because if you say something stupid, they're going to think you're stupid. I'm like, oh, wait. So now I was in the middle of always feeling like I was afraid to be judged and being
Yeah.
wrong. So being at ease with the fact that what I have to offer the world may be of benefit.
Yeah.
So it's okay to talk and be wrong.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it is. You learn a lot by being wrong. What's your guilty pleasure?
Ooh, guilty pleasure. My guilty pleasure, I guess, since I'm into like food,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably going to be a food. And I tell myself that when I'm with my family, I get to be an appreciatarian,
Okay.
which means I'm going to eat whatever they make. Whatever they make is totally cool with me. So, I think my pleasure, my youngest son loves to eat popcorn and watch a movie. I think I kind of like to do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not going to eat the theater popcorn, but
Right.
I'm going to eat the popcorn that I make.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that idea of just
Popcorn
watching
in
a
a
movie
movie?
that makes me cry. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
What's your favorite make me cry movie? Do you have one?
Oh, I've got a lot. I do
Just
have a
name one.
lot.
The first one that comes to your mind.
Grapes of Wrath.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh man, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cat or dog?
I love this answer that I'm about to give
Okay.
because I love cats and dogs.
Okay, you get to love
Yeah.
them both.
But I realized as I was thinking about cats and dogs, because I had a dog.
Uh-huh.
He made it to 18.
Good.
But when I
Aw.
was starting the company, he was at the point where all he did was sleep. So I didn't have to have the guilt that I was leaving him.
Mm-hmm.
But I did still have the guilt. And I said, I'm
Yeah.
going to get him a cat. I'm going to get him a cat. And they can snuggle up together
Yeah.
and be a cat and dog together. So I got him a cat. They became best buddies. And then, of course, he passed away. So now I just have the cat. But what I'm realizing is that dogs are kind of like the state of a child.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Where you do something good, I'm going to give you a cracker. If you do something good,
Mm-hmm.
do something bad, I'm going to tell you no. So that little dog that does grow and does age, he remains the conditional love
Yes.
that you reward if they do the right thing. Whereas a cat never, ever is trainable that way. Or I mean, apparently there are cats that can do that. My cat is not. But I love her so much because they both are the love, period, love.
Yeah.
But this cat reminds me of the dog that would have grown up and said, you know what, honey? I'm not going to be sitting today. I'm going to be running today.
Right, right. They're the adult, the dog is the kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the cat is more like the child that you've launched.
Yes.
This child that is now allowed to go out and do whatever he wants to do. And yeah, I just want to sit here today. I'm like, okay, go ahead and just sit there today.
Well, I think that's great. Loving both, and animals are, like you said, animals are
Yeah, they're
they make
pure
you
love.
smile. Yeah.
They make you smile.
Yeah.
They're just here to remind us that life is short,
Yeah.
but also to remind us what is real love.
Yeah.
Real love is just, I'm going to wag my tail, whether you remember me or not. I'm
Yeah.
going to wag my tail.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to purr.
Yeah. Oh, Manette, thank you so much for joining us today. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Oh,
This was
for
great.
sure. Thank you for having me, Linda.
Absolutely. And I would love to follow up with what's going on with Moonchi.
Yes.
So let's see what's up in the new year with where you're going and distribution and so forth.
For sure.
And everybody, thank you for joining us today. It was great to have you here with us. F5 Collective presents Women in Business. Please check out the link in the description below to learn more about Moonchi and more about Manette. And we will see you next time.